Welcome everybody to Project You, Project Me, the FTG guide to self-belief and self-coaching. Why not come along and listen to people like you, people like me, leaving legacies for your future. Welcome everybody to Project You, Project Me, another edition of Removing Your Fear in Transition. And today we've got the brilliant Melanie Vernon. And I've known Mel a while. She's been coming through the Forces Transition Group for probably a good year and a half, I think now. In fact, it might even be longer. But Mel, how are you?
I'm really good, thank you, John.
Fantastic, and it's amazing that for you to be here. And I know you've been really busy lately, so thank you very much for your time. And we did try to do this a couple of months ago, didn't we? And you were away across the world, and it was all going wrong. So we kind of decided
Yeah.
to redo it today. But um, to start, people would always like to know a little bit about you, where you served, and a bit about where you come from, all that kind of stuff. So if you could give me a little bit of information about yourself, that'd be great.
Yeah, no worries. So I joined the army 7th of September 1998, almost 25 years ago. That feels like an absolute age now. Basically, my mum gave me two options. You get a job or you go to college. And I was like, there is not a chance I am going to college. I wanted money. I wanted to leave home, wanted to be independent. So my only option was to join the forces. But
Hmm.
I initially went to join the RAF, funnily enough.
Oof.
Passed my test. Yeah, exactly. Passed my test and everything. Then my sister decided she wanted to join the army. So I was like, oh, well, if she wants to join the army, so will I. So off I went to the careers office with my 10 GCSEs in hand. And obviously 25 years later, I'm still in. I only initially joined for 3 years. And then one thing led to another. I went to Germany for 4 years and had my best life. On from there, I served at 2 SIGs, went to 19 Light Brigade in Northern Ireland. I've been to Cheltenham, Blandford, 21 SIGs. I've been all over the world, good and bad. Obviously, a couple of operational tours, not so
Yeah,
nice ones. But
yeah,
yeah, so I've
fantastic,
been about.
fantastic. Yeah. So what are you doing now? So what's going on with your life now?
So I'm currently working for a company called Vima Group. They're only a
Oh,
very small company. I think there's about 150 employees, but they're trying to grow. That's amalgamating with KBR very shortly and coming under Fraser Nash. That's quite exciting. I've been with them for 5 weeks now, so I did start working 2 weeks into my termination leave because I kind of wanted an overlap on my wages, which isn't great
mhm,
for your tax, but at
mhm,
least I knew I had a job and a pay packet at the end of the month.
mhm. So Vima Group have actually done some stuff with us.
Ah,
We're going to start coming onto our online job phase, but I think there was people were very busy, probably with that growth. They did put some jobs on our website a while back, so it might be something that we can re-look at moving forward.
yeah,
But what
definitely.
is your exact job there? Then what is it you're doing? If you look at your military service to that job, is it a connection?
So yeah, because my official title is management consultant specialist. I
Wow.
specialize in cyber. It sounds great. Don't actually know what it means yet, because obviously I'm only 5 weeks in, but I'm kind of doing a lot of information assurance stuff, IT security. So everything I did in the Royal Signals basically completely transfers across to what I'm doing now, if not more, to be honest. I think you're slightly overqualified than what people need depending on which level you come in at.
Hmm. Is it the wording that's different? Or
Yeah, because I found that a bit tricky. So when you're looking for jobs, you
hmm,
kind of I was putting in cybersecurity, and I mean cybersecurity is huge. It's
yeah,
massive.
yeah.
And I was putting in service management, and you kind of look at the job descriptions, and it doesn't really tell you much. So it's not until you actually go and speak to these companies that you actually realize what the job's all about.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, it's definitely worth speaking to people as opposed to just doing a job search, I think, because the job searches I don't think are that good, to be honest.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's all about direction, isn't it? We,
Yeah.
say to people, come on our job fairs, get on lots of different job fairs, go and speak to as many people as you can, because until you start to realize how great you are, first of all, how or what you've been doing and how that relates, um, you're kind of always stuck in this kind of area that where am I supposed to be going? What's my direction? Oh, I don't think I can do that. When absolutely you can.
Yeah, and I think, do you know what? And I think that's one of the most. That was when the penny dropped for me when I spoke to you and you were saying, be a hunter, you're brilliant. I thought, oh God, that just sounds so cringy because I've spent my career doing my job, and I've never been the one to go, oh look at what I've done, look at how great my work is. I was always in the background just doing my job, and things just happened. But then as soon as you said that, I was like, oh, okay, maybe I've got to try and be this person and tell people how good I am. And I really struggled with that, I must admit. And it wasn't until I spoke to you and I was like, well, no, actually, yeah, I am good.
Yeah,
And I am going to go out there and speak to people and tell them how good I am. And that was a real game changer for me for interviews and everything, to be honest. And I
yeah,
thought that was really important. Whereas before I just thought, oh, who wants to know who likes a person that tells them how good they are? It's
yeah.
no, it wasn't good for me.
Yeah.
No,
Well, there's a fine line between arrogance or
yeah,
ignorance and and I think that's where people get a little bit confused.
yeah,
I don't want to do this. And in the military, if of course you bigged yourself up, you would probably be given a slap on the back of the head or something like that
yeah,
because it's not just not what we did, is it?
yeah,
But ultimately, everybody else out there is doing it. So if
yeah,
we don't, it's very important, or if we don't, we're not going to get the jobs we want. We're going to be beaten by everybody else. So it's very important to make sure that we do that. So in your transition, clearly you've done really well, and just like you said, I spoke to quite a few people and say, what does that job title mean? But ultimately in the jobs. But when you were leaving, were that transitional piece, were you sleepwalker, hunter, a bit of a mix? At what point did you've just said the hunter word really helped you, but did you go a very long time where your head stuck in the ground, if you like, or were you doing things very early through transition?
I think, well, my husband says I never joined the army. I've been resettled since I joined. I don't know how he dared. So I started my resettlement plan, I would say at probably my 15-year point without realizing it, trying to
Okay.
get courses in and stuff like that. But towards my last 2 years, as soon as I'd signed off, I was kind of like, oh, all right, I better do something because it's gonna come around quick and I'm not doing anything. So I was a bit of a hunter at the start. And then actually after a while I thought, well, hold on a minute. I've got about 6 months where I don't have to do anything. I can have 6 months leave pretty much. And I'd already done all the courses that I wanted to do. So what I decided to do in the end is spoken to a few people about jobs and stuff, I thought, actually, I'm never going to get this time back. So I basically took 6 months off prior to leaving.
Mm,
And the first couple of months, I did do a few job interviews and I did kind of secure a job. But after that, I did absolutely nothing up until 5 weeks ago.
mm.
And do you know what? That it was brilliant just to kind of,
Okay.
I've left the army, I'm not
Yeah.
in uniform anymore. I've had months where I'm not wearing uniform, I'm not military people. And I thought that really helped me as well, just to be around normal people, can we call them?
Yeah. So it was a kind of bit of a mental detox.
Yeah,
We do say to people to have a bit of time off. Many people, you know, will go through, like myself, will go through a huge period of time in the military. And yes, we get time off in the military and things like that. But um, when we leave, it's like we walk into a job on the
yeah,
following Monday. There's no kind of break in between. So having 6 months off, I mean, that's fantastic.
yeah,
And it probably allowed you to reset. It probably allowed you to think. Um, and I've got no doubt that will have helped you going into your new job. You're being refreshed and everything. So I think it's quite important. And ultimately, because you started early, though, that's what gave you your advantage because you were already ahead of the game. You got to the point
yeah,
where you've got your job and then you can relax. And I think it's really important. For the question we get a lot on the job phase is, what's the perfect time to start to apply for jobs? Well, clearly, as early as possible, because a lot of the companies we speak to will take you 12 months, 9 months before.
yeah. I think
That's what
I
you
got
said.
mine 6, 7 months before I left. But I mean, it depends on I would say look for jobs when you're ready.
Yeah.
Don't kind of
Okay.
think, oh, I better go for a job interview because that's what I'm supposed to do. Do
Yeah.
it when you're ready because I think there's so much out there. And prior to me leaving, everybody says to you, the army doesn't care about you. Your chain of command doesn't care about you. They are 100% correct. However, we care and people like you care. And I've felt so humbled by the amount of people that wanted to
Mm,
help me, and there are people out there that want to help. You're not alone. And actually, take your time and think, what do I need? What wages do I need? Do I need to work full time? For me, it was, I knew 100% I did not want to be in an office Monday to Friday. So
Mm,
unless a job could offer me that, I don't care what they were paying me. I wouldn't have taken it if it
that's
was a
great.
Monday to Friday in the office job. You need to know what you want.
Yeah, that's great advice. That's really good advice. And I'm sure there'll be a lot of people who'll listen to this and go, okay, I'm not getting this too badly wrong then.
Yeah.
Because people do listen. And actually what you're leaving is a bit of a legacy for them to follow your path because you've been successful in it. That's really interesting what you've just said there, which kind of brings us nicely to the Project You, Project Me guide, self-belief and things like that. Because I think military people do want to do it themselves. Yes, there's nice to have guidance and a little bit of help and things like that, but ultimately you're forging your own path. Um, Nobody wants everybody else to do it for them. So, I always say when we're writing CVs, the CV, I can give you guidance, but you write it. It's about you. We need to, you get you moving with that. And it's the same with understanding who you are, all them kind of things. So the Project You, Project Me booklet was designed for people to start thinking. Now, I know you didn't use it because clearly we've only been, putting this out there the last couple of months, but I sent it to you. What do you think about it?
No, I do like that actually, especially the bit about the hunter and the sleepwalker. I thought, yeah, that I can relate to that. And
Mm,
about setting objectives and goals and everything as well. And about, like you said, looking at yourself and kind of writing down, well, what am I good at? What am I not so good at? Because I think you never look at yourself like that in that light. So until you actually see it on a bit of paper, you think,
mm,
oh, yeah, I can do these things. And being military, like you said, with so many things, but when somebody said, "What are you good at?" and you just go, "Well, I'm not good at anything." Well, actually, we've got a lot of talent, but because we do it so naturally, you don't realize little things like just being on time for work, being smart. There's two things you can
yeah,
tick off your list.
yeah.
Yeah, and I thought those were really good. And the advice about the CV, getting your CV done. I think as soon as I went through my CV writing for you, with you, sorry, that was a game changer as well because everything just fell into place,
Mhm.
and I knew what jobs I was going to look for, what I didn't want. And again, after I read my CV, I just thought, wow, I didn't realize I'd done so much stuff. But yeah, so definitely, and I think that booklet's really handy actually, and it's quite self-explanatory. It's easy to follow, and you can just
Yeah.
pick up bits and pieces that you need.
Yeah. Well, I tell everybody it wasn't written by me, it was written by the NHS, but I kind of claim fame to it with Andy Moss. And if I understand it, I'm a thick northerner, from Sunderland. And if I get it, I think anybody's going to get it, to be fair. And that's no offense to anybody who comes from
No.
Sunderland or anything like that. So, we've just gone on about some of the parts there. What would your favorite part of it been if you wanted to pick one out
From
in the
the
booklet?
booklet, the hunter and the sleepwalker.
Okay, that's
Yeah,
interesting.
that
That's the
and the
first time
C
anyone's
and oh, I
said
don't know because I quite like the CV part as well. But I'd say
that.
this, I'd say sleepwalker over CV because I think that first part's more important at the start.
Hmm, yeah,
So because you can be a sleepwalker and have a brilliant CV.
true, true.
So
Yeah,
yeah,
that's interesting as well.
yeah,
I love the way that you said that hunter word, because it's funny how you said corny. Because when I started using it, I had my, do you know, when you put your head down and you've got your head in your hands and you're thinking you're gonna get, some incoming from this. People are going to take the mick out of it. Actually, what happened was the total reverse. People started getting in touch saying it's what I wake up thinking about. And if that's the case, then they're gonna start believing, they're gonna start moving forward. And if we can make it as simple as that, military people are really good at what they do. They're very, very good at what they do. So if we can change their mindset to say, I'm great, like you've just been saying, I've done a lot of stuff, then they'll just be successful.
yeah. And I think we worry too much. You know, I heard a really good quote on the TV the other day, which I've actually used quite a few times. And the gentleman said on the TV to this lady, "Why are you worrying? You're worrying about something that's not happened yet, and by the
Yeah,
time it's happened, it's too late to worry about." And I thought that is genius, and it's absolutely right.
yeah.
So don't worry about finding a job because people literally falling over you to employ you. And I've honestly daily you'll get emails asking you, do you want an interview? It might not be what you want, but it's a bit of experience.
Hmm?
So yeah, don't worry.
Yeah, no, that again is good advice. There's lots of opportunity. I
Yeah,
mean,
a lot.
we're starting to work with companies now who are guaranteeing jobs at the end of the training.
Yeah.
And that's probably happened before, but if we can do that in every sector, we'll have nailed it.
Yeah.
And that's where we're
Definitely.
going with it. But we've got to prove it first. So that's, it's all within real, the guaranteed scheme. But there's some great companies, there's some great people out there, like you said before, who really want to help. But to finish, the one of the parts that a lot of people comment on and say they like is the 3 golden nuggets. Now you've probably got 1,000 golden nuggets. You've
Oh
already
wow.
given some golden nuggets, but it allows me to then be able to break it down and paint a picture, hopefully, of what you're actually trying to describe. So your 3 golden nuggets for all those transitioning.
Right. So I would say get your CV sorted. Number one.
Yeah.
Number two, when you go into interview, be 100% be yourself. Do not be somebody else. And number three, prior to going into a job, know what you want, whether that be wages, how many hours you want to work, how many days. Definitely them three.
Okay. So your side is slightly different to what some people say. Some people go, although you have said a little bit about being you, your side is more like the fundamental side that we do.
Yeah.
And I think listening to you is really interesting because I think them fundamentals actually give you your self-belief rather than doing the booklet and then so that's really interesting to listen to your point of view from that. Which kind of gives me a bit of confidence that the 5 fundamentals we're doing the right thing.
Yeah, definitely.
Because they are a little bit kind of documenty,
Mm,
but it does change your mindset because if you can write a great CV and then you look at yourself and think, I'm absolutely brilliant, look at all of this, that's going to change your confidence.
yeah, and again, when I went for my first few interviews, I thought, well, I've not done this before. I'm just going to go for the experience, see how it goes. And the one thing I told myself was just be yourself. And halfway, well, when we first started, I just thought, actually, you need to convince me that I should be coming to work for you, not the other way around.
Mm.
And that just helped me relax. And I was just talking about myself, and I thought, well, if they don't like me as a person, that's fine because you don't fit into every company, and that's 100% fine.
Mm.
But they've got to be right for you as well
Yeah,
as you being right for them.
yeah. Well, people buy people. It's always going to be about people.
Yeah,
Um, and most of the companies that we deal with are so great to say, listen, we know people might have a deficiency, all these kind of things. But you know what? We know that the right attitude's there. So we will take military people, we'll teach them the stuff they need to know. But what
yeah,
we can't teach them is how to be amazing. We can't teach them about their attitude. We can't teach them to be on time. We can't teach. So, that I think that's how we can bring it all together. And certainly we are. But that brings us to the end of the 20 minutes.
oh,
And, thank you so much for us to get through 20 minutes, first of all, because the last time we couldn't. But I know that your time, especially being in the job for 5 weeks, is precious to you. Um, and I also know that, lots of the things that you've said, comments you've made, things you've put on LinkedIn and stuff like that are leaving legacies for other people.
mm,
And the way that I see it is if I do it, you do it, the next person does it, and then we're all being successful, is very, very soon we'll create that many pathways that there won't be failure anymore. Just everybody will be
yeah,
succeeding like ourselves, full of self-belief, full of self-confidence,
mm,
with the self-coaching, mentality, hopefully through service. So they're doing it nice and early. But as I said before, thanks so much, Mel, for coming on. It's massively appreciated. We'll probably get you on further down the line again
yeah,
to see where you're going, how it's been in 12 months' time, that kind of stuff, because different perspectives from different times is important as
yeah,
well. But I suppose look forward to your weekend.
yeah.
Love
Thank
to your
you.
family, and we'll catch up with you soon.
Thanks very much.
Stay safe.
Thanks.
So, ladies and gentlemen, that's Project You, Project Me. Thanks for listening in. But remember, we have a Project You, Project Me guide to self-coaching, to self-belief, and it can all be downloaded on our website. We also do the 5 fundamentals: CVs, professional writing. We do brand, we do CPD, making sure you're going in the right direction. We're also looking at your elevation, giving you 2 times the chance to set up your interviews before your first actual interview. And also we look at your financial plan, massively important for your future, for you and your family. So why not come along? Have a look. What you got to lose? It's all free. Stay safe.